rephrase that?
That's so funny.
We just got the countdown from John to make sure our facial expressions look good when we begin this episode. So I'm here with Lucho. What's up? How you doing?
Good.
We're sitting in Lucho's house right now at close to 8,200 feet in the boondocks of Colorado mountains and some canyon that's way off the beaten path. Truly amazing.
It's good.
Thank you so much for letting us stay here.
It's been an amazing weekend.
Yeah. We've been here since Friday. It's now Tuesday. And it's funny because every day that I've been here, I've been like, Lucho, we got to do a podcast. Lucho, we got to do a podcast.
Something always comes
Like the
up.
first day that we got in, I'm like, Lucho, we got to do a podcast. But then we just kind of like slacked on it.
Yeah.
And
the breweries just kind of killed it.
yeah. But we had, so I think it's going to be good to talk a little bit right now because after how many days it's been worth of experiences, we definitely want to share some highlights of what we've done in the last several days. I think, and what we're going to start off with, we had one of our listeners ask for some exclusive video of us doing our brewery tours. So I want to let you know that we did do brewery tours. However, it was inappropriate to be filming that at the time. Just kidding. It actually was pretty mellow, but it just wasn't really. I mean, the breweries around here are really crowded, and if we had tried to film anything, it would have been silly. You wouldn't have been able to get anything.
Great divide. You had to yell.
Yeah,
to talk.
It was a small place. We did the brewery tour there. That was your first brewery tour, huh?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah. It was good being with John.
Yeah.
Because he's Mr. Beer.
Right. I've mentioned this on the show before. My boyfriend is a total beer connoisseur, if you will. So.
But that's kind of an understatement. Like he's.
You now realize that, huh?
He knows more than most brewers probably, so yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
I learned a lot.
I don't really, I'm not able to regurgitate the information as eloquently on the podcast when beer does come up, but yeah, I think Lucho now knows firsthand what knowledge John has about
and
beer.
And he broke my IPA restriction.
So that's what I want to talk about first right now, is that all of you probably know by now that Lucho is an IPA fiend, and it's the Modus Operandi, is that the one? And that's the one that, Modus Operandi, that you can get at this cool ass little liquor store less than a mile down the road, and the only liquor store. You told John it's feeding 1,500 or so people in there. That guy's got to make a killing, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So anyways, okay, so we broke you out of your IPA habit, which was kind of a big deal. There's actually been some huge things that have happened this weekend. Not only breaking out of IPA, but getting you back into running to the point where, okay, it's one thing for you to run with us like you did, but this morning I woke up and you were gone and out on your own.
Yeah, I ran again this morning,
So yeah, all right, well, let's start off with the beer. So we went to this one called Crooked Stave, and how would you describe it? Like
trendy?
Yeah, it's kind of, but trendy, but with an undertone of metal hardcore,
Yeah, they were playing Rage Against the Machine when we walked in, and I knew I was gonna like it.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any IPA.
No IPA, so
and
you had to
panicked.
suck it up.
I totally panicked, and that's why I tried the sour beers, right? There was one with kombucha.
John's behind us, by the way, right now, so if you see us looking at someone, it's us getting
looking for
permission.
advice.
Yeah.
Or somebody letting the cat in.
Yeah, somebody letting the cat in. So,
right.
Yeah, it's there was only a couple beers that I didn't like.
Yep.
But all the rest of them I thought were really good, but they all had this sour undertone to them.
Right.
And I'd never had sour beer, and I totally get into that.
And also, what I really liked is that they had 2 different kombuchas on tap. I'm a kombucha fiend.
On tap.
And
they mixed it with beer.
So yeah, you could get the straight kombucha or the kombucha infused with the pale ale or saison or whatever.
And then they also had the Nightmare on Brett, which I'm not even going to try to describe it, but it's a dark sour ale aged in Leopold Brothers whiskey barrels. So it's got a really strong whiskey flavor with a sour flavor. And when we first tried it, I was like, I either hate this or love it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't decide. And after about, 3 or 4 more sips of it, I love it. Yeah. But it's so expensive.
$12 for this bottle, and this is how many ounces? I'm not really sure. 12.7 fluid ounces. Oh, did you notice this? The ABV on it is 9.666. Freaky. I don't know. Some of you might not approve of that, having that in your house. So yeah, this is something that Lucho's going to have to share with his wife at some point, or a good friend who would appreciate it.
She doesn't like whiskey, and it's got a really strong whiskey flavor.
I didn't really like that beer. I would take a sip just to try it, sort of thing. But that wasn't. I was much more.
It was too expensive for me to really like it.
I know you like have this like in the back of your head like $12 could go toward like this awesome thing for my kid or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so from there we went to that was Great Divide that
Great
day.
Divide next,
so we did the brewery tour there, and actually one of our awesome fans, Jenna, who's also coached by Lucho, met up with us on this day. That was fun. And then we went to a place called True, which is kind of in the downtown Denver area, I guess. I don't know.
That was grunge, man.
That was total grunge, and it was really interesting because we get in there, and at this point, none of us had been carded. I don't know if, whatever. Okay, so
you didn't get carded, and I got carded.
We all got carded there. I was at any of the previous breweries, but it wasn't even like a topic.
Issue, yeah.
But so we get carded at this place called True, and lo and behold, we discover that Lucho's license is expired since like November.
So she cards me. She's like, "I need to see your ID," and I was laughing because I'm like, okay, no problem. Yeah, I'm 21. I'm old enough to be your dad.
Look at this guy,
this girl, and we're just laughing and stuff and ignoring her as she's looking at my ID, and then she hands it back and says, "Sorry, you can't drink."
She laid down
the hammer. What? She did. She totally laid down the hammer.
And with when you have like hardcore metal music going on in the background, you see this tattooed chick with like dark hair. You don't mess around with her.
No, I was like, okay, yeah, no problem.
That was not the place to try to argue the point.
Yeah.
So thankfully that was they didn't have that many beers at that place anyway, so we did a shortened trip. But John did buy this one. It's some sort of ale, but you can get an idea of how hardcore this place is if you look at the label and see the gnarliness of it. What kind of beer is this?
It's an ale with Brettanomyces, so it's pretty wild.
Is that a Belgian?
And then it's dry hopped with Citra hops, so they're not really to style at True Brewing.
Oh.
So that I don't know what that's going to taste like, except
what kind of
should be
yeast do they
delicious.
use?
It's the Brettanomyces. You just wanted me to say it again?
Yeah. No, it's from that guy at Great Divide. That jerk on the tour.
It's actually the same or similar yeast or same yeast family as the Nightmare on Bread. The bread in Nightmare on Bread is Brettanomyces. So.
Got it.
So the beautiful thing of the day was that we got you to places you've never been before.
Okay, we got lost a couple of times.
We got lost.
And I had never been to those places.
We drove by the Coors factory and didn't even think twice about even bothering stopping there, of course, in Golden. Got lost, introduced you to new beers, new places, and you ended up actually kind of liking it.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So.
And then the next morning we woke up. We didn't actually drink that much at all. We were totally fine. It was one of those days where
tasters.
Very small samples. We woke up early and met for our snowy run. So, okay, let's hear from you though, like a little bit about what it's like to run on that trail, how we had it versus how you normally have it.
So it's completely socked in with like really heavy fog, really heavy, and usually it's called Flatirons Vista. So it's the view of the Flatirons, and it's spectacular.
If you hear little feet, we have a little one running around the house.
He's getting on the counter. Anyway, get a shot of that.
It's safe.
And
careful with the coffee.
And so there was no views whatsoever, and we ran 2 hours.
Yeah, we were out on the trail for 2 hours. I think run time was closer to out like 95, 98 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Like 9.2 miles. The video that we posted, which is now live on our Endurance Planet YouTube channel and youtube.com/EndurancePlanetTV. You can check it out there. John did a great job filming. We didn't get the parts though where it was like shin deep snow on like a slant running. And it being that it was so fogged out, I mean, you had this like you really had to pay attention to what your footing was because it's either white cloud sky or snow, and I was like feeling a little dizzy and drunk at a couple points, just being like, okay, wait, what's going on right now? What is actually ground and what is the sky? But it was for me, it was great because we had some Endurance Planet fans out there. I've never run in the snow, never really had a desire to run in the snow, and it was super memorable. I mean, I could have gone longer had my hands not been freezing, for sure, but that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Thank
you
for that, because you had the right connections to hook us up with the peeps in town. And
a few. Georgia and Niraj and Jenna.
Yeah. So watch that video if you haven't checked it out yet. Okay, so then that led us to...
Oh, Lord. Then it just went downhill from there.
So then we got lunch at this place called, I don't know, what was it called?
Southern Sun.
Southern Sun, which
Brewery.
is a fabulous little establishment. It actually felt like being in a ski lodge in between, you know, heading out on the slopes with good food. What was that? Oh, the flip camera, sorry.
Yeah. So we got there like around noon.
Probably. Enjoyed our time.
And didn't get home until 8.
Yeah, it ended up being a long day. A long day. We were supposed to actually do dinner with Bijou that night, but he got stuck in some crazy traffic, so that got postponed till the next night. So, let's see, that was the day we hit up Avery as well.
Avery was awesome.
Avery's in Boulder, and if anyone's in the area, I would highly, highly recommend checking this one out, because again, I don't really drink too much beer, but you know, it's really fun to try something that's not your typical whatever. And they had some amazing. They were actually releasing something special. John, what kind of beer were they?
Stout.
What is this?
Uncle Jacob's Stout.
We made friends there too, and
Mitch.
I tried a sip of an 18% beer. Granted, it was like literally like maybe not even this much in the glass, but that was something.
Yeah, I don't like that really high. It just tastes like alcohol.
Yeah, it's not good. But yeah, this is, how much is this bottle of beer?
That was $12. Special release on Sunday for that, so we timed our trip properly.
Yeah.
And I guess Uncle Jacob was the brewer's or the brewery owner's uncle that was a bourbon distiller. So now they make a beer in his honor.
I thought that said 713 calories.
Oh.
Although that's probably pretty accurate, huh?
Probably.
This is a dense beer. And then we went to this place where we got to try what we're going to now demonstrate on camera for you guys. A place called Twisted Pine.
And that was awesome.
And this was a lucha. This is actually a place that you had been to at this point.
It's the only brewery outside of Oscar Blues that I've been to.
So right now, there's this other podcast out there called The Beerist. I know John introduced me to it, and what they do on their show is basically do what we're about to do right now. They get interesting beers, try them, and talk about them.
So this is Billy's Chili's.
Billy's Chili's spicy beer.
And it's made with Anaheim, Fresno, Serrano, jalapeno, habanero peppers. So.
Well, if I could have authentic spicy Indian curry food from Bijou last night, I hope I can help this with the filming, right?
And it's very hot. That's
and it
just
stays
straight
with
up.
you.
But it really, really tastes like jalapeno to me.
Well,
Like
I'm not good at distinguishing between the different types of
jalapeno
chilies.
or habanero to me.
It's that habanero, I think, that sticks on the back of your throat.
Mm-hmm. It's hot though, man. It's really hot.
Can you get this beer outside of Twisted Pine? Like,
yeah,
it's down
at our liquor store.
What if? I don't think us in California we can get it, or if anyone else is interested.
I bought this at a liquor store, and they had some at your local liquor store yesterday.
Yeah. It doesn't really have much of a nose on it. Maybe a little spice.
Fire.
Yeah,
The
fire.
nose
Well,
is
maybe
fire.
because it singes your nose hair, so you don't even have a chance to like appreciate the smell.
So that would go really good with Mexican food.
You know,
Yeah.
you're making your camera debut, Oliver.
Wave and
Look
say
at the
hi.
camera and say hi.
Hello.
There you go.
That is definitely not the same Oliver that we first met on Friday.
No, he wouldn't
He
even.
was shy. He was very. I think John scared the heck out of him.
Yeah.
Some creepy old man in his house. So yeah, this is good. This is interesting. I've actually been very interested in spicy beers myself, finding the perfect one, so to speak. And that was after tasting Crime and Punishment by Stone a couple years ago, and it was a limited release, and that was pretty interesting. So it's good to finally get one that doesn't taste like crap. I've had a couple where it's like either it's not spicy at all, and you're like, that's weak, or it's like this vegetal like nastiness.
Right.
So
this
is
tastes
good.
true. Like it tastes like real peppers, so it's kind of nice.
So getting back to the whole IPA thing, even though you love IPA, there's still like different types of IPAs that you don't necessarily like, and one is the black IPA. But at that point, you accidentally ordered the wrong one. And then the funny thing about that is John
Accidentally ordered. I got the same one.
He got this Hoppy Night India style black ale. So anyone like black IPAs out there, we'll ship it off to you. Oops.
I don't know why I don't like them.
Honestly, okay.
They're more like a porter IPA.
Yeah.
It's porterish, and I'm kind of out of the porter thing. So.
Yeah, and then I think rounding out our tour, we had a very thanks to
So Timko, Rob Timko and Lori Timko
for the win.
But the win for sure.
That was like...
Best, I would, that's the one brewery out of all those that I would love to go back to.
It makes sense knowing your personality type that you like being away from people.
Yeah, it was really quiet. It was literally in this, like, storage unit.
Like a
right?
closet.
Like a real storage unit, really tiny. We were the only people there.
Yeah.
Except for the guys, like, the owners or the brewers or whatever. But they're just, like, these dudes. Like,
dude, the guy had
hanging
sideburns of the century. Like, you see in Lucho's beard, if we were to just shave the middle of it, and then keep the sideburns, and then dye him black, that's what this guy looked like.
Yeah.
He was
that was fun. That was my favorite.
That was pretty cool. And the cool thing for me was the darts game. So
yeah, they have dartboards set up, and that's always a winner.
Yeah, we had a pretty good game, and I was very confident that I was seriously going to kick your ass.
You were crushing
I
it.
was kicking your butt,
Yeah.
like hardcore. If you guys, what's the cricket where you have to cancel out?
It was 15 through 20.
Yeah.
And you had to get 3 of each.
Yep, 3 of each plus 3 bullseyes.
And so I started going for the bullseyes early, knowing that they were going to be the hardest.
Practicing your skills.
So I wasn't
at
worried
first,
about
you
the
weren't even
numbers.
making it on the dartboard.
No,
you
I
were
got
like
off the
throwing it.
Well, I was totally drunk. I was like closing one eye so I could
Now
see.
you're making me feel even worse about myself because I totally was not drunk and I still lost to you.
Yeah.
Maybe
I was
that
seeing
says
like
something.
3
Maybe I should've been
dartboards,
more
so I would
drunk.
just shoot for the middle one.
So I was beating you pretty well until it came down to the bullseyes,
Mhm.
and that's where you got me. That's all I had left. Such a shame.
It was good.
So, and then
And that was J. Wells Brewery.
J. Wells Brewery. I would highly recommend if you
Good
want
beer,
that
too.
like at home, like your friend's brewing beer and they're actually legit with it and it doesn't make you want to spit your drink out. That's a good place to hit up. And yeah, again, thanks to Rob for the win for that one.
Yeah.
And Lori was awesome to meet too.
You'd never know that thing existed.
No. Not to mention the day, it was like creepy, foggy, snowy, hardcore in Boulder. So like we're driving around, the visibility's crap anyways, trying to look for these little off the beaten path places.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. But surprisingly, despite all that, I know I didn't feel fabulous. I'm on beer retirement and I kind of came out of it this weekend. I didn't feel fabulous from all that. But yesterday you made me do a workout. Thankfully you were kind enough to set me up on your bike and adjust it for me.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to do the trainer, but I just am not one to ride trainers indoors, even at home. So I opted to actually set it up right here.
Well, that was also
instead.
because I was working
And
like,
that
right in
creeped the
front of
heck
you,
out of
like
me.
looking right at Tawnee.
I was like,
She's like, I think I'm going to go outside.
Yeah. So yeah, I did a workout right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we got you running once more. Tell us a little bit about that hill.
So it's just above our house here. So it starts, I think, around 84 or something like that. And no, not 84. It's a little higher. But it's 800 feet of vertical to 9,200 feet altitude. It's not gnarly steep. Like
No,
you've got steeper
I have
hills,
definitely
so,
steeper stuff at
yeah.
home, but it's the altitude and
Mhm.
the cold and stuff.
And the footing was terrible.
Yeah, unfortunately. When you run up a hill and you're like, sweet, now I get to run down.
Yeah, we weren't going to run down because you literally hurt yourself running down that stuff. So we opted just for like a 2.6 mile time trial up. But little Miss Fancy Pants, I was like, and she's like, how long is it going to take? And I'm thinking, and like 45, 50 minutes maybe. She crushed it in 33.
Yeah.
And that's a solid time on that climb.
And that was with frozen feet for that first part where
Oh, yeah.
my feet were, even though I did the train outside, I'm not gonna lie, my feet they were pretty damn numb by the end of that, and I was trying to thaw them out with a blow dryer before we went on the run. I took off my socks, I'm like blow drying everything. Like I didn't want to get in the actual shower at that point because I would have not run.
You wouldn't have run.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to blow dry everything and get warm, but my feet, I've always had problem with my feet and circulation, and so yeah, they were numb, like to the point where it was
really
not.
painful.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
afraid I was gonna pull something,
Almost.
and just because everything was so tight. But yeah, other than that, I surprisingly felt really good. I actually felt even better, and you guys will see this video at some point of me doing my metabolic test, being here, 24 hours after arriving, doing a metabolic efficiency test on the treadmill. I felt better running up that hill yesterday than I did on a 1% treadmill run indoors in, completely mellow conditions.
I think a lot of that has to do too with the bike.
Beer.
The bike warm up.
I know, I did not warm at all.
Yeah.
We both looked at each other and were like, yeah.
You didn't have coffee.
Yeah, that was...
And the bike can warm you up. There's a lot of people who feel better anyway with the bike before.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. So when I did that metabolic efficiency test, this isn't something I brought up on the video that we're posting, but I had to be fasted for 12 hours. So I think we finished dinner like 8:30 the night before, and the test started around 8:45, 9 the next morning. 12 hours fasted, just water, and obviously the idea behind that is they really want to see like which energy systems and how much fat burning versus carb burning you're going to be doing just naturally based on what you're capable on your own. But we were both saying like it's just not as real world applicable.
Yeah, and Niraj, engineer, actually we had he was out on a run, and he's brilliant with the nutrition
that
stuff.
Guy's awesome.
Yeah. But he was talking about he wanted to get the metabolic testing done in a real world situation.
I'm trying to say that, huh? Real
it is
world.
a tongue twister. With being able to do your normal pre-race and pre-evening meal, and then your pre-race breakfast, and then go into the metabolic test, which sounds a little more intuitively correct. I think when you're talking about like the raw and basic science of stuff like that, that's what Dean is more looking into maybe.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily the real world stuff, but more the nuts and bolts of the science.
And to her credit, or to both her and
Dina was amazing.
Bob Seemahar of Fuel Formance, I think mostly they are getting high carb sugar burners coming in the lab. So if you give people that freedom to eat whatever they want, chances are they're going to be eating a bagel or crap that's definitely going to skew the test in the wrong direction. So I see the point, but yeah, if someone if I had access to that kind of machinery and equipment all the time, hell, I'd be testing myself all the time, seeing what kind of breakfasts or meals or situations change it.
The coolest aspect to me about that test is if you wanted to run, a 250 marathon, and they put you on the treadmill, warm you up, and set the treadmill speed at 6:30 pace, and see where your carb to fat ratio is. That's kind of a definitive thing. You're like, no, you're not even close.
Being realistic about your race goals,
Yeah, because if you're burning
in fantasy land.
75% carbohydrate at mile 1 of a marathon,
no bueno.
Probably not.
Yeah, you're done though. So you got to worry about your.
And
goals.
you would have to eat so much fuel to do that. So.
Yeah, Dina was telling me, Sonia Wick, who's local around here, and we've had her on the podcast. She lives in the Denver area. It was before Kona 2 years ago. She came in and did a long brick workout where she was on the bike for 90 minutes to 2 hours or so, hooked up the machinery, and then it bricked to a T-run. And Dina, I don't know if you heard this, but Dina said that she didn't even take off the mask and stuff when she bricked to the run.
Transitioned with the mask on.
That's pretty badass because that's kind of a difficult thing to do. That's the other thing too. I've done several VO2 max tests, actually 2, and then this test. Having that stuff in your mouth and not having any water and a dry throat for metabolic efficiency test is a lot longer than VO2 as well. So that kind of gets excuse me, I'm about to burp. But no, I mean, in your opinion, looking back on that metabolic efficiency test, we didn't really talk to you on the video, but I think you felt like a newfound love for something like that, a potential with working with your athletes.
Completely changed, because I'm totally the old school.
Totally old school.
Pasta and stuff, and just sitting there with Dina and listening to, how intelligently and well put she put everything, and showing the results of some of the follow-up tests. It's,
What a difference. She said, I think the biggest take home is 75% of your diet is going to influence things, and whereas it's only 25% training. So that's a pretty significant difference right there.
Yeah.
And
but you in that situation you almost have to start with a test.
Yeah, you want like the example that you guys will see on the video that we're releasing of a guy who was total carb burner and wanted to qualify for Kona or do well in his age group in Ironman, and got the test, found that out, and then totally made the switch to the opposite direction.
In just 3 months, I think, wasn't it?
It's a very short time. So it can work for sure, and I think it's definitely one of those things to learn about yourself. So my biggest thing too, as I say on that video, is now I want to go home and do it at sea level because I didn't feel that good, and my heart rate was
through the roof. Like your heart rate yesterday on that hill climb
was that math.
Yeah, it was math.
I mean, it did go high in the end, but still.
And that was a much higher output than they had you on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And your heart rate was like almost 180.
It was 10 beats.
177.
It was in the 160s at what my current math pace would be
Right,
at sea level, so it was like 10 beats artificially high for the most part.
And yesterday it wasn't. So you looked better yesterday.
So yeah, stay tuned because I'm gonna put myself through another one of those tests soon at sea level. I like to be like the data nerd.
I think any ultra athlete, like if you were like a 5,000 meter runner, I don't think you have to worry too much about it.
That would be more a person who'd want the VO2 max test.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like with this, if you're an ultra runner or an Ironman athlete or even a half Ironman focus, this test could be
VO2
one of the more
max
functional tests that I've seen.
Which you still actually get VO2 data. You're not reaching max unless you really wanted to. I'm sure they wouldn't deny you that. You still know your VO2 is at certain points.
No. I'll watch it.
Are you watching Spider-Man?
No.
Which one did you end up watching?
Iron Man.
Oh, sorry.
It's where the rapper guy.
Oh yeah, I'll watch it with you later. Okay.
It's the race car.
All right. What else do we have on our agenda today? Kevin wants to know the best stretches for ultra runners.
It depends, right? I mean, what's tight? So, I think dynamic stretching trumps it all. I think there's certain instances with like a tight IT band or possibly some static stretching, but
dynamic. I'd also add into that foam rolling. But, you know, if you really want to find out what your flexibility is and how you could, even muscle imbalances for that matter, take a yoga class. Put yourself out there. In fact, I even saw in your training logs that you exposed this weekend, I got to see the old school Lucho training logs from the days, guys.
Yeah.
But
I was almost ashamed to show them. I'm like,
no.
I can't believe I did that.
Awesome
That's so stupid.
Handwritten, like old school, where it's just like so beautiful and pure, like writing the lines for each day rather than a computer software program doing it for you. And there's no like personal like vibe to it, you know.
Yeah, this is very personal.
That was very personal, and I mean there's a lot of emotion in that. But point is, I saw a couple yoga sessions that were even snuck in there at a couple points in your life.
Yeah, but I always took. I mean, I made the mistake of going into the yoga class thinking that it was an aggressive thing.
That was my first time doing yoga too. I'm like, all right, where's my heart rate at? And
I can stretch this hard. And then the next day you're just completely torn up.
Yeah.
And so I went twice, I think, and then didn't go back.
Yeah.
So, but nobody told me, nobody really explained to me what yoga was supposed to be.
Right.
Like the instructor, you know, you walk into the class and she didn't, she just assumed that we all knew what we were doing.
Right.
So.
Right. So yeah, I would say, Kevin, to find out maybe what your needs are for that, go to a yoga class or, you know, basically you're going to assume that anything related to the legs and the hips are going to be the tightest, so like pretzel stretch sort of thing.
Yeah, I still think dynamic stretching, but then also stretching only after you've warmed up, if you're going to do static.
No, after you cool down.
Well, like sometimes you run jog 20 minutes really easy and then stretch gently. That's what we did in college. And
well, that's what you.
Yeah. That was 60 years
There's
ago.
no studies to prove that actually
None.
works.
No. I think it was Mark Allen who was actually saying that having a bit of tension is actually beneficial.
Yeah, no, and that's completely right. It wasn't just Mark Allen.
If you're too loose, that's not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't answer that at all.
I know, right? I was actually going to do some stretches, but how about instead we do a little bit of a showdown? What do you think? Are you down?
Yeah.
Yeah, drink the rest of that beer and then answer the question again.
I learned a long time ago that getting beat by girls is not a shameful thing.
So we're not going to go jump in any freezing lake. You had marshmallows, I saw at some point in the weekend, but we're not going to stuff marshmallows down because that's disgusting. Plus, Lucho only eats once a day, so that would totally throw everything off for you. Totally, because it's like.
Have you seen me eat more than once a day since we? I had some fries at Southern Sun.
Oh yeah, and you were like shoving them in my face because I ordered.
I was like eating them in your face.
The funny thing about that was that I ordered a salad with avocado, and then I had my own snacks. I had like cashews and little
macaroon
things.
Super healthy, like over the top.
Well, I felt, at peace with the people with whom I was dining. Niraj had a burger without a bun. He is actually, that guy is so fat adapted. Even Jeff Volek has recruited him for a study on low-carb athletes.
Did you hear him tell me he did a 9-hour run with just water?
Yes.
A 9-hour run through high altitude. And I thought I was badass at like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But, dude, that guy.
I could tell from the get-go when he and I were chit-chatting during the run, like, I'm doing my best to sound like I'm not working hard and I'm in totally control, but you could tell, like, that was such an easy run for him.
Yeah, he was out there for the company.
He was totally, and same with George Zach, too.
Yeah, George was just out for the company.
Well, you too. I mean, even though you looked like shit, you said you felt fine.
I felt fine.
Yeah, you felt fine. Anyways, okay.
So push-ups
or planks or both?
You want to do both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Are we gonna time it?
We don't have to time either one.
Oh, we don't have
to hold the plank. It's just the first person to cry uncle.
Okay. Hey, John. We need our cameraman. All right. Do you want to do the plank or the push-up first?
I think.
Okay. So real quick. First of all, little did I know that in February 2014 I'd be hanging out on Lucho's kitchen floor. That's number one. Number two, did you ever think your kitchen floor is going to be famous?
No. And this, you got to remember that I'm not strong.
That's not the question.
I'm setting up my failure here. So, I mean...
Wait, I don't even want to use my arms yet. I got to breast them.
I use my legs.
Oh, you use legs for push-ups?
No, that's what I'm good at.
Oh,
I'm not good at using my arms.
Right.
So.
Because actually that brings up a good point while we continue this floor conversation. You said in your last 3 days of running the things that are the area that was most sore were your biceps.
My legs aren't sore at all, but my arms are sore from running.
Girly arms.
Oh yeah.
Alright, let's do the push-ups then.
Alright, let's do it.
Oh man, okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
No cheating.
No cheating.
Come on, Tawnee!
Are you at 22?
I'm like, I don't know.
20 years and not 22, but 20 as well. 21?
28 maybe?
Wait, okay. 27. 28.
One more.
29.
There you go.
I'm doing one more. 30.
I totally lost count.
Well, we have video evidence.
We have video evidence, okay.
I did 30 just in case.
I'm going to be so sore tomorrow.
I don't like doing push-ups because I already have my shoulder, like, round and forward thing, so I'm doing everything to, like, that's like the opposite of a push-up right now.
The altitude's getting you.
I know, right? I should have worn my heart rate monitor for this. I have my watch for...
So I actually felt my stomach starting to get tired, which is bad news for the plank.
Yeah, I felt only in my arms.
All right.
Hold on.
We don't need
Let me
to time
get my breath down.
We don't need to time it.
No, I want to know for my own personal...
Right.
I gotta log it on my training peak.
Didn't the world record just get broken?
It
was
plank?
like, yeah.
Probably.
Isn't it like 7 hours or something? Or not that much.
Yeah, is it weird if I log this on my training peaks? Okay, so we're 1 for 1. So as I mentioned, Lucho beat me in darts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just beat you in push-ups.
Yep.
Hopefully if the camera evidence works out.
One more.
One more. This is the decider.
Right. I drank more beer though.
Whatever. I just
remember
stressed about Billy's chili. I have Billy's chili in my belly for this. Okay. Ready?
No.
Go.
This is gonna be pathetic.
Go.
I'm already hurting.
You serious?
Yeah. My butt's shaking.
Good dunk, good dunk.
You know, not in a good way.
You are shaking.
I know. I'm such a pussy.
Win Leadman if you can't even...
I didn't have to do planks in Leadman.
So you know how we talk about muscular imbalances on this show? I think we found a winner for you. God, you really are shaking like crazy, huh?
I'm okay. I'm going to go to a happy place.
Yeah. See, you're good at that. Just suck it up.
Stop shaking. Do you feel anything yet?
Yeah, I feel it.
Good.
I feel it more in my lungs, though. Okay, we're a minute in. Who's doing this at home with us right now?
Shit, I was hurting 30 seconds in.
No donkey back, like I told my
I'm
clients.
trying.
Get rid of that arch. Lock your knees out more.
They're locked.
You okay? You
No, I'm not good. I'm not good at all.
Alright, you can take a knee. It's alright, I can win.
Yeah. There's no way I'm gonna beat you.
I'll just finish out this minute.
Alright, I saw that coming. I totally knew that was gonna happen.
2 minutes. I probably should have told you before, I'm known to do 3-minute planks with my clients at the gym at the end of workouts. That's whenever I do workouts with people, it'll be done, like everything that I've written on the board or whatever. I don't know if they can see this on this shot. And I'll be like, alright, bonus time, 3-minute plank.
So last time I did planks was 5, maybe 6 years ago.
I am the champion.
Nice job.
Colorado Games. Those are our Olympic Games for the weekend.
It's funny that the only thing I beat you at was drinking beer and throwing darts.
Redneck.
Yeehaw! I'll take it though.
Okay, be right back because we have a couple more questions to answer for you guys.
Oh, seriously, did you see me shaking? I was just like quivering. So my whole front of my body is starting to cramp. My chest and my stomach.
You should go out on the ice. You should ice your stomach.
I should go to the gym.
Okay, we're back. How you feeling?
Alright. Well, I am admittedly horribly weak and I'm not afraid to show it.
Yeah. No, you were good on the push-ups. The plank, I was actually expecting more from you, I'm not gonna lie.
You'll learn.
Yeah. Anyway.
I just haven't done anything like that.
I think that calls for another beer though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Celebrate. See, look, you never thought you would even like chili beers.
It's good, it's good.
Spicy beers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about altitude then and the
Mhm.
effects of altitude. As I mentioned, I kind of felt it on that run, the metabolic efficiency run that I did. But even just now, you could see my breathing, even though I was able to kind of be in the same pace as you for the most part, my breathing was definitely more labored.
Yeah.
I feel it even still, like I feel it more recovering in my lungs and in my muscles.
Yeah, especially, there's that window. Anytime you go over
Yeah.
78, 79, it's genetic a lot, but there's a certain ceiling, it's about just under 8,000 where things really start to happen.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you're just not adapted.
Yeah. So I think the point is with all that too, it's a very genetic thing to some degree. Like
To some
everyone's
degree.
gonna react differently.
There's responders and non-responders.
Yeah. John is, handles it pretty well, where I've noticed I'm not that great right off the bat in altitude. And I learned that in Tahoe training last year. We have a question from Roy, and he wanted to know if actually swimming drills can prepare you for running at altitude, and wondering the reason behind that, or his logic in his head being that, is the oxygen deprivation sensation that happens in intense swimming beneficial in any way for high altitude racing?
Yeah, so he starts off saying swimming drills, but then he talks about intense swimming. So those are two kind of different things.
Depending on how shitty of a swimmer you are.
Yeah, drills
like
are hard.
schooling, like
drills are tough.
Yeah.
But I think absolutely. I think any intense swimming for sure. And getting used to that hypoxic feeling, which happens in swimming very, very effectively because you can't breathe at every second that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to have. You're going to have some oxygen deprivation there,
But
yeah.
Do you think there's like a direct correlation of doing swim drills and then being able to run better at altitude?
No.
I don't either. And this even comes from experience of, I guess technically not without trying, doing that. Like I do swim drills and I do all that kind of stuff in the pool, but every time I've been at altitude,
it's
not
hard.
anything.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just not specific enough.
I think it's not specific, but I think that getting used to the hypoxic feeling from a mental standpoint is where the benefit would come.
Yeah, I guess
VO2 max is
maybe my case isn't as good because I haven't controlled. Maybe the swimming is benefiting me and I don't even realize it. That could be worse.
Right. So if you weren't swimming at all,
Yeah.
then how bad would you be? But yeah, with VO2 max, it's pretty much sport specific.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're, Michael Phelps probably is not gonna. I mean, he might get to high altitude and just completely wilt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's. I mean, if you really, really dug and got really into the nitty gritty, there's probably some crossover somehow. But just from a pure aerobic training standpoint, I think any time you're fitter, then you're going to be better at altitude.
What would you say then if Roy, assuming that he's looking to train for races at altitude and he lives closer to sea level, is what I'm gathering from this question, what else besides, an artificial like hypoxic tent situation or traveling to altitude, what would you
Those
suggest?
two, yeah. I mean, the tent's not usually realistic for very many people.
Yeah, we were talking about that with George Zach the other day. I mean, I definitely think there's something to it, but there is a science behind it of it's actually not changing the partial pressure.
Right.
So
it's not altitude.
Yeah, it's not.
It's simulation. So.
Because at altitude, you still have the same amount of oxygen in the air. It doesn't change. It's just that the partial pressure is different.
It changes a little bit, but that's not the main function.
Yeah, where hypoxic tent actually decreases the amount of oxygen.
Yeah.
With the idea of wanting to elicit that blood boosting.
Yeah.
Erythropoietin response.
EPO. Anytime you're talking about wanting to get better in a particular sport, though, you need to do that sport more. So VO2 max running, make sure that your top end is really good. Your ability to use a lot of oxygen is good.
So that just reminded me, I saw this guy when I did the turkey trot in November, obviously.
Yeah, the turkey trot.
Shocking.
Turkey trot.
I swear it was all, yeah. He was wearing one of those, like, it looks like a gas mask sort of thing, but it was like an altitude sort of mask thing, and he wasn't like an elite athlete or anything, but he's like, I swear it's made me better. And
it probably does, and it probably does, but are you willing to wear the thing?
He looked like he was like wearing a gas mask.
I would think if you were just out running, you could get arrested.
Yeah,
in this day and age, yeah. Post 9/11,
they're gonna profile you and they're gonna look at that guy and be like, hell, I've gotten. Did I ever told this story on Endurance Planet that I got pulled over running once?
For what?
Running in the street, in the bike lane, in the asphalt against traffic instead of running on the sidewalk. So I was actually in a business district area away from any traffic at all. It was very like you maybe see one or two cars in a matter of like 4 to 5 miles sort of area. And I was actually doing a brick run out of a swim. This was before we worked together. And a freaking cop pulled me over. And I was in the middle of like an interval too, so I was like, guy, like...
Did he flirt with you?
No, but he did try to tell me, like, after I was like, look, I'm training for Ironman right now. I'm trying to do everything on my body to at least mitigate, the pounding and all that sort of stuff. And asphalt, while it's not ideal, it's better than concrete. Apparently in California, I don't know if this is the case in other states, if there's a sidewalk available to you, it's against the law to run and or do anything in...
Wow, what an anal cop.
In the street,
yeah. Jeez. That's why I was wondering if he was flirting with you.
Well, then he's like, I used to be an athlete, so I can kind of relate.
There it is. That's it. That's why he pulled you over.
Be an athlete, right? So,
he was trying to get your number.
No, that wasn't But anyways, yeah, that wasn't interesting. I didn't.
I don't know why you're talking about that. Running with a gas mask.
Oh yeah.
And getting pulled over.
Yeah.
I think the masks probably do work to a certain extent, but
I want to try one.
yeah, I don't.
Because I have that dream of doing Leadville one day, and I don't know if that after a couple times at altitude now in the last couple of years, I think I'd have to move for a year to be able to sustain.
Yeah, if you're not a responder and you're terrible at altitude and you want to do a high altitude race and you live at sea level, you're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard. Even if you get to altitude to train once in a while, if it just totally destroys you, yeah. I mean, you'd have to basically move to altitude for years.
Years, not just a year?
I don't know. It depends on how bad you are.
Yeah.
So.
And how much you want to achieve in that particular race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 4 weeks would be better than none. So, even there.
Yeah.
But.
Okay, last one for the day comes from another one of your athletes, Mike Wasserman, who actually is doing New Zealand. What is it?
Coming up.
Beginning of March?
2 weeks.
Is it in February then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it sounds like they bumped it up.
Might be the 1st of March. I'm not sure on the exact date, but
okay, well,
it's like 2.5 weeks.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man. He just got finished doing Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he also do St. George last year?
Yep.
Anyways, after New Zealand, his next plan is to do... Is there an official name for these races? The Boulder
Race Series.
Boulder Race Series.
Or Boulder Triathlon Series or something like that.
So starting June 1st with the Boulder Sprint, and then June 15th, the Boulder 70.3, July 15th, Boulder Peak, and then August 3rd, Ironman Boulder.
That's pretty stout.
Dude.
That's awesome.
And does he lives in LA, but does he...
He moved to LA from Boulder.
Is he going to come train out here more for those events?
I don't think he's going to stay very long.
Boulder's at what, 5,000?
55.
55, so it's not like extreme altitude, but...
No, the thing that he has, though, and it's... once you spend a lot of time... He lived here for years and years, a very long time. Once you do that, and if you move away for a few years, I think I've seen research that suggests that you're still going to be well ahead of the game when you come back.
Got it.
So it's not something that... I mean, it definitely is going to go away eventually, but it comes back more quickly if you've lived here for a long time.
Got it. So I see that the battery light is flashing, so if we do lose it right now, we'll have to pick up. But anyways, you're his coach.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit how you're going to take him through this. He's in his 50s?
High 50s.
High 50s?
He's going to age up next year.
Okay, so keeping that in mind, obviously it's going to be a little different than young 20-buck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the Ironman to finish off on August 3rd.
He's already obviously in relatively good Ironman shape though.
You have to work back from that though. So you take the biggest race of the series and you focus on that. Like you don't focus on the sprint. You can do the sprint no problem off of Ironman Fitness. Can you do the 70.3 off of Ironman Fitness? Yes. And it doesn't work any other way. So you have to build the Ironman Fitness and then tweak variables within that program leading into each race. So you start with the sprint, and the periodization is actually perfect because you can start intense and go long. So starting in June with the sprint, you go into that Ironman ready, but focusing a little more on speed, stuff that's not really specific for the Ironman. Mm-hmm. And then as the Ironman gets closer, you just kind of switch over into workouts for the 70.3. And 70.3 and Olympic distance are really paired well. There's, you don't need to... I mean, Olympic distance athlete will always do well at the half usually, and vice versa. So, it all comes down to the Ironman. You just got to be ready for that, and then do your best in the shorter races.
So, okay, if Ironman is August 3rd, look, I actually have a calendar. You know how I'm going to talk about?
Oh, nice.
Having a calendar right in front of our faces. Let's put him aside, the fact that he's trained for New Zealand right now, and say someone else is just doing this series. Mm-hmm. When would you then, because you would be then in an Ironman base phase for a considerable time before, right? Early on?
Yeah, I would start in February.
So right about now.
Mm-hmm.
And then when would you shut that down?
Base?
Yeah, or build, actually. I mean, your Ironman training, because obviously once you get to June, it's going to be all about race recovery for the most part.
For the most part. So you...
May. Into May?
June, July, August. Wow, what's the time difference between June 1st and August 3rd? June, July, August. So that's 2 months. That's 8 weeks. And that 8-week period is sort of not a magic window, but it's a telling window. So I would probably I would start training really fairly intensely beginning of May or late April. Give yourself 6 to 8 weeks of really high intensity sprint type focus on the quality, but still building volume. And then once you're done with the sprint, take that really fast speed work and jump it up to half Ironman and Ironman intensity, and then Boulder Peak is just going to happen. The 70.3 and the Ironman are the two that I would.
Boulder Peak is just going to happen.
It is. It's just right in the middle. You just don't put too much stock into
What's the distance on that?
It's Olympic.
Oh, it's Olympic?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have one of the top fastest times ever on that course.
And what is that?
The bike.
What was it?
1 hour flat.
Nice. What's the elevation gain on that course?
It's not a ton of elevation, but it's also not 40K. It's 42K.
Cool.
Yeah. But that's, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. But Mike will see it. Because I will do it.
How much time are you going to allow him recovery after New Zealand before? Because
2.
you mentioned, like, for someone else who's not maybe doing Ironman, like right now would be the time to start that base training?
I would say maybe 2-3 hours, and then he's right back on.
I heard that you mean.
So as soon as he's done with the run, I'm going to have him go to the track and bang out some 400s.
Well, okay, so it's not like that's unheard of, because we were having a conversation
about
this
Natasha,
morning.
Yeah,
About, I don't even know how that even came up, but
I don't either.
We were talking about getting shit done, like right after a race and not even on for recovery, and you mentioned that Natasha Badman was coached by her husband.
She was on the bike the day
maybe that's
the
when
race.
I was like bitching about how I didn't want to work out today, and I was like, what kind of coach are you? You're just gonna let me get away with that?
And I was like, no, you gotta, it's okay to relax. And I was like, Natasha Badman got on her bike about 2 hours after she finished one Hawaii Ironman. 2 hours after she finished, so that's a little anal. But
do you know what year that was?
Probably 99 maybe?
Okay, I was going to guess early 2000s.
99. No, not 99 because Lori won it in 99.
I wish I had a chart with all
I think
of
Lori
it.
won it. Anyway.
Yeah,
Lori won it in 99, Natasha in 2000,
So it's not completely unheard of if you're a freak of nature, because, as then I mentioned too, I mean, look at Natasha now. Like, you said she took a significant break.
Yeah.
Just went off the radar for a while, but
well, you don't know why. I think she was pretty injured and stuff. But
shocking.
Like
she came back and she's like getting top 10 at Ironman distances all the time right now. It's ridiculous.
The cool thing with Ironman though is you can, like, right after New Zealand, Mike can get in the water, which is useful. After 3-4 days Vasa, once the soreness is dissipated somewhat, you can start getting on the bike, which is specific. It's usually the run is the key here. So when do you start running again?
Yeah.
And that really just comes down to recovery, and it's hard to predict that. So it depends on how hard your race was, how much damage was done, if you had a good race or a bad race, and your rate of recovery. So some, like you said, not 20 anymore, so it's going to be a little bit slow. So it depends on when you start back. But
okay, that's all the questions that we're going to go over today. In fact, we are going to have a regular show with the rest of the questions that were asked.
Yeah.
But we decided it's better to do that away from each other because I got to get out of here.
Just sick of sitting here.
So sick of it. Yeah, right. Quite the opposite. John and I, even though you were going to let me get away with not working out this morning, I
did
still run like 3.2 miles with John, and I think he and I both agree that we love being up here. It's getting away. I've heard you talk about it so much, and I had an idea of what it would be like, but actually having been here for the last handful of days, I can see how this is addicting.
You can really isolate yourself.
Yeah.
And so I was talking too when we went to the breweries, how being in a crowd was like kind of flipping me out because I'm just never around very many people at all. Oh, I'm shaking. But yeah, you can isolate yourself up here really well. No cell phones. There's no cell phone
No
coverage.
cell phone service. I know I emailed all my clients before. I'm like, I will have Wi-Fi. I will be checking, but I don't have any cell service, so don't expect me to be like able to call.
So a lot of people are like, why don't you have a cell phone? I don't get cell coverage.
You do have a cell phone though.
I do, but
you
it's
just don't
only
know how to really use it.
I don't have a clue how to use it, and I never turn it on.
Even when you should be using it, you're still not using it.
Timko on Facebook said your cell phone's acting weird or something. I was like, no, it's
AKA.
acting normal. It was off, which is normal. So.
Well, thank you for letting us stay here. It's been super fun. Cheers to you.
Oh, it was.
Cheers to your beautiful wife and kids.
Miss you guys.
I know. Thank you. Drink to that. We've just got a good thing here, guys. It's tight family, and definitely, I love it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You want to go do some planks?
Yeah.
Next time we do this, I'm winning.
Oh, that was the last thing I want to mention too. Okay, so last year we were in LA, or actually you were just getting home at this point after a crazy journey.
Yeah, that was insane.
But okay, so our last run together was on Santa Monica, or in Santa Monica on the boardwalk right there, 10 miles.
Was it Saturday?
It was the day of the endurance last year.
Yeah,
It was
that's
probably
right.
Saturday morning. Because I don't think we would have wanted to run Sunday morning after what we did Saturday night. Oops. Ben was there too, so. And so were everyone else. But there was bottles of wine just going around endlessly. Anyways, so that was at sea level. This year, 1 year later, literally
Almost
to the
to the day.
weekend, yeah, like if you look at it in that sense, we're together again now, up 8,000 plus feet, hanging out, running together. So the big question mark is, where is 2015 going to take us?
Yeah.
It can't be sea level. It can't be mountains.
Yeah.
Family has to be involved. Family has to be involved.
Yeah.
Because I know you don't like traveling without your feet.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to. Got a year to decide.
Yeah. So if you guys have any suggestions, or if you want to fund a traveling trip for
us, there you go. We'll go anywhere if you do that.
We'll come stay at your house.
Yeah.
We're easy to please. He doesn't eat much.
Yeah.
So.
You have to have a lot of beer though.
Beer and at least one meal a day.
Yeah.
And a comfy place to sleep. Anyways.
And coffee.
Now I'm just rambling.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Bye.